Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and this short video we're going to discuss the Battle of Bakhmut. During the previous 12 hours we received a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. So I have already updated this map, and currently this situation in Bakhmut. As you can see, as a result of fierce clashes during the previous day, the Russians managed to enter inside of the citadel from the, let's say, the north central part of Bakhmut. So this area is under Russian control. For now, it's very difficult to determine what exactly the Russians control, which buildings are really under Russian control, which of them are the Ukrainians. But the sources are saying that the Russians managed to enter this citadel, this part of Bakhmut, exactly from this direction. Furthermore, don't forget that during the week we received few updates that were saying that the Russians were fighting, and there were fierce fightings in the vicinity of the cinema on the southeastern part of the citadel. So probably this territory is still in the gray zone, but I expect that within the next 24 hours this area will be captured by the Russians. And this configuration of the front line in the citadel give us some understanding of upcoming and possible Russian steps in the future in this area. Also, don't forget that this building is destroyed. If you remember a few weeks ago, or maybe days, there was a video in the open source how the Ukrainians or the Russians were destroying this building, and this building was ruined. And this is also very important. Now let's try to understand and what the Russians are going to do next in this area. As you understand from this map, the most important part of this area, of this part of the citadel, is the school that located in the central part of this area. And this is the building, and from one side and from the other side is some kind of a barrier. So from this perspective, we see that the Russians, by taking control over this small salient to the north, have already established, let's say, physical control over the small passage, small road between the buildings that connects, let's say, the mainland and this eastern part of citadel. And the same situation on the south. If the Russians are able to capture the cinema, then they will be able to establish another fire control over the road between this school central part and the cinema. So by these two developments that the Russians have already achieved, they will be able to encircle or at least to cut supply of Ukrainian forces who are currently located in the eastern part of the citadel. I believe that the Ukrainians are not going to allow this, not by doing some kind of counter-offensives, but they will be forced to step back, and this entire area will fall. And don't forget that this building has been destroyed, and this was done for one purpose. Currently, the Russians, using this Tchaikovsky Street, are able to use tank pairs, and using the tank pairs, they're trying to attack this position from the north and trying to, let's say, to create the passage for the forces, for the infantry. And as soon as these two buildings will be destroyed, the Russians will be able to enter this territory. Of course, the Ukrainians still have possibilities to use school as the main possibility to bypass this area for supplying, but I expect that within the next 24 hours this building will be destroyed by the Russian air bombs or something like this, and the Russians will try just to destroy this area and not to allow the Ukrainians to use this building as the main road for supporting the eastern part of citadel. Very interesting updates are coming from the Hromova and from the, let's say, this Bogdanovka-Hromova salient from this area. The Russian sources are saying that during the previous 24 hours, the Ukrainian special forces made some kind of maybe recon combat, or maybe they were trying to. It was like the 8 squad of 8 separate regime of special forces. They was encircled. It was a trap, and as a result of those events, Ukraine lost up to 200 soldiers, and something around 300 soldiers were wounded. So they lost a lot of soldiers in this area. Possibly these days we're going to receive more updates about the situation. When talking about the southern flank, I expected that during the night the Ukrainians would made more attempts to develop their bridgehead in this area, but we still haven't received anything. Maybe today during the day we're going to receive more updates, but currently, according to the words of head of Wagner's Prigozhin, the situation is stabilized in this area, was stabilized, and the Wagner's prevented any penetration of the Ukrainian forces in this area. So currently this situation is under complete control. The only thing that is, as you can see, the Western source map has been updated, and this area, according to the last version of this map, was under Ukrainian control, but currently this territory is under Ukrainian. It used to be under Russians even yesterday in the evening in my previous video. So that's it for this short update. Military Summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, share my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.